Hey guys, welcome to another episode of
Discovering Our Journey.
I'm your host MC.
And I'm JC.
Man.
One of those, right?
Oh man, it's been one of those.
Yeah. And this whole year is going to be more of those.
No, I hope not more of what just happened, but you know.
Yeah.
It's
but how's this week treating you?
It's good. I had to have the humbling conversation of what happened to your phone.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They always they're replaceable though, right?
I know, but you know, it's crazy. You know, something that can be replaceable that technically shouldn't be a problem, we can make such a big deal.
Yeah. Because it's like we're so on it all the time. We're like, oh, we can't have it for an hour or two.
It's the conversation with, you know, your significant other about it. I think that's the big one, you know. I haven't been, just to tell a little story about myself. When I was younger, when I first got with my wife, I would lose my wallet maybe once a year for like maybe 5 years or something.
Okay.
So it was just one of those things where like, you know, I'm like, I go through a couple of months or a year, but I haven't lost my wallet, and then I lost my wallet because I'm very careless, you know.
Yeah.
And not to say that I
think many of us can raise our hand to that one.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not. I realize it's not so much that I'm careless. It's just I got to care more. And, you know, it's what it is. You know, I know it might not sound like a big difference, but we do have to care more about stuff. So, man, I'm proud to say not currently. I did lose my ID, and I still can't find it. I'm sure she's gonna ding me on this one. Yeah, dude. It's been years. It's probably been like I have not lost anything in like I don't know how many years. So now, I gotta.
I've joined that club too.
So yeah,
it's been a while for me, and I can't even save my ID because I got my ID.
Yeah, no, I lost my ID. Yeah. But the thing was my phone. Somehow I put my phone on top of my car. Something happened, and I drove away and didn't realize it. And you know.
Okay, so do you get mad at the fact of what happened? Is that question that being posed to you? Is that what gets you like stressed out? Or what stressed you out the most?
What stressed me out is having to tell my wife how it happened and why it happened, because you know that's what wives want to know sometimes.
Then the shame. You don't want the shame.
I guess it's a little bit of the shame, but yeah, it's just the whole having to explain to another person, like, all right, look, it's like, you know, there's already poop on the carpet, you know, I don't want to have to bring someone in and show them the poop, you know, because that's what you got to do, right?
So you don't like being corrected.
No.
Or this isn't even a correction.
No, it's not even a correction.
You don't like it overly played.
I guess, you know what, it's exactly.
Sounds like it.
I will say this time around, you know, I was pretty straight up with my wife. Said, hey, did you find your phone? Yep. What happened? Okay, I'm going to tell you real quick, but we'll talk about it later. But I found it in the middle found it in the middle of the road down the street, and it's good. It's, you know, not broken and just a little scratched up, but that's about it. And her look was like, what? And I was like, we talk about it later.
But if you said it like that, you know, you're being very transparent. You're giving her the step by step.
And I'm trying not to get mad, because before I'm like, all right, it was freaking in the middle. You know, I would be a lot more. But but again, I go back to sometimes the difficult part with us also, at least for me as how I am, is that I know that I'm not that as like that anymore.
Yeah.
Can I still, like I said, misplace stuff and whatever and still stuff? Yes, but I'm not the real irresponsible guy that I was before. Like, I really didn't care.
So that's why you pride yourself in not like, don't smudge my nose in it because I'm growing.
Yeah. So,
and I've grown.
And if she does a little bit, it's a balance. Like, if she does say something back, I can take it now more than before. Because before, I hadn't proven to myself that I hadn't. So, because if I keep losing things or breaking things or misplacing things, like, my track record speaks for itself. So you have a problem, you know what I'm saying, that we have to work on, you know what I'm saying? And so it's a lot harder when you haven't worked on it, and you're like, oh, God, it happened again.
So were you always told, like, when you were younger, like, always what you did bad? Is that what kind of like what this resonates to? Because it's always tied to something in our past or before that kind of like not molded us, because it's not molding, but it made you build walls against that.
No, and the opposite. I feel like no matter what happened, I was never really in trouble for anything. So that's the thing. I grew up with the whatever mentality. See, and that was a problem. So when I meet my wife, which she can't, misplace her whatever it is, a card that someone gave her, she's like, no, I know I put that card here. She's very adamant about how she stores stuff and puts stuff. Then it's like, yeah, I mean, she's technically lost in her card at least twice, but it's because the servers haven't given it back to her. But even that right there would drive her insane, because she's like, I can't believe I didn't catch that they didn't bring my card back. And so to her, that's like, and that's her level of stuff, which is it's a third person, but to her it's like I lost it, and to me it's like, many a times I'm like, dang, did I get that back or not? It's like I don't pay attention to stuff like that all the time.
Well, I only ask because when I lose my stuff, I'm like, and then my husband's like, really again? I'm just like, I know I suck. I just don't let it get to me.
Where is it usually?
And what?
Where is it usually when you're like, where's my phone?
Oh yeah. I usually have it on me. It's always in my back pocket or something. It's like, has anyone seen my phone?
And then I'll call it, and it's buzzing from her butt.
Oh yeah, man, I got a nice fluffy badonkadonk because I can't feel it. Everyone always tells me that. Did you check your butt? I'm like, okay, let me check really quick, and it's most likely there. I know.
But do you actually lose things though?
No. It's just, like you said, like I'm always like this and like this and like this. So I can be careless with some of the things that I shouldn't be, and it's always where it should be. That's the funny thing about it.
But you've never been like careless about stuff. Have you ever been that way?
What was that face? Did you see that face? Oh man, what was that face? You better speak. You better speak.
Didn't you just recently lose your purse?
Oh, but that wasn't that's where it should be.
Oh, my wife gets me on that one all the time. It's like I don't lose things. I misplace them. So
yeah,
but have you ever been a person that loses things or misplaces things?
Oh yeah, I've always been very careless. That's why when my friends would beat up on me and stuff like that, I'd be like, I was always a very giving friend, so like it wouldn't be surprising either when I'd be like, hey, you're gonna have to spot me for some chips at the ASB line, I left my money. They'd be like, oh, of course you did.
Of course you left your money.
Yeah, of course. No, but it wasn't like that because I would always be very, willing to share and stuff. So, but it wouldn't be something that they'd be like, oh, really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do it too often. But yeah. But communication, I heard that very deep, that, communication should be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we talked about that already.
Yeah.
What's the difference between transparency and honesty?
So that's a deep one and I struggle with this a lot because sometimes I feel like I question my own self, and I think we do that a lot to ourselves sometimes, which is transparency is saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to lunch with John, and, his wife is going to join us, and another friend, Paul's going to join us. Instead of, coming home and your wife asking you, hey, where were you today? It's like, oh, well, I went to with John to have lunch and have this, and explaining the whole thing. You're being truthful about what you're saying, but in the other thing is including your partner in your decisions and how you're going to operate is a part of communication.
And I noticed that it's always going to be one partner that messes with that crap. I think it's always a little more playful and
So it's. And in my family, it's kind of hard to be transparent sometimes because it's the last minute, like, hey, we're going to go do this and that. What happened where? And it's like, sometimes it can happen that way. Yeah. So the thing about transparency and honesty, it's like the more you're transparent with your partner and you build that trust, there's no reason to raise any suspicion of anything. There gives more certainty about stuff. There's more, there's no more questions being asked because you're being honest about stuff. Up front, which is called being transparent.
Oof, something recently came to my ears speaking about this topic of transparency. It brings me back to the conversation of, remember, age is nothing but a number.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting older, and I'm starting to see relationships older, and I remember how they got together back when, and now I ask myself, is age a number?
I think age is just one of those things where it's like any scale, you know. You could look at a fish and be like, wow, look at this fish. It is huge. But when you weigh it, it doesn't weigh that much because it's actually this thin. But you get another fish that's a lot smaller, a lot shorter. You look at it and be like, whoa, this fish is about this thick. So transparency can be age can be deceiving because it's not so much what your age is, but what you've experienced in that time.
There you go. Like we talked about experience being a big thing.
Yeah, experience.
Because if you've never done it, you're going to be like, well, I want to experience it. What happens if I don't, you know? Or temptation's a lot more real.
Yeah. I mean, a big thing for me, you know, I feel that for my age difference with my wife, I feel the big thing was that she was coming out of her partying stage. I was barely going into I never went to clubs or nothing, never did any of that stuff because I wasn't of age yet. So barely when I met her is when I was like, yeah, what? You know, I was trying to party and drink and whatever. And she was coming off of that. And she was honest with me. I mean, she told me, she's like, yeah, I think I'm done with that. And it's like, you know, I always tell her, you know, if you ask her, if it's like, when's it? Well, actually, there's two answers to this question. But the day I knew I fell in love with her was one of them was, you know, when she drunk me under the table, I was like, dang, I love you, you know, because I was like, you know, I was like, dang, girl, you could drink. So I was like excited and stuff. So that's one of the things I tell her all the time. So she knows that. So, I mean, I don't know. What is your take on the whole age?
Yeah, like you said, experience is definitely a big thing. However, I think it's not just experience, it's really love. Like, it's really love because we were talking about this just recently with a friend of ours, and we were talking about how there are people we know who are still together, and they're older, like way older, past like probably past 70s, we'll say, you know. So and they're still together, and you're like, wow, you know, they can do it. Versus other ones that didn't make it. There's this one that we were talking about, though, that, you know, and it's happened before, where they won some money or they inherited some money and he was younger and all the friends thought, hey, okay, now he's going to be done with her. You know, this is going to show exactly where he's at. But he loved her and he always put her first. And so when he did get this money, they ended up, you know, putting their assets together and building on that. And that made everyone go, what? Like, what? You could have traded that old model for a new one, you know? And that goes to show you that when it's love, you know, sometimes kind of like Grease, like when you got your eye on that and it's just love, no woman or no man can take it away when it's love, right? And there's experience behind it.
Well, see, remember, for me, the way that I feel love is a decision. So, and I think that, you know, what I've said throughout the years, because I've said some things.
So you never felt that love, that like, you've never walked through, like, you've never seen someone walk through the door and like you felt like huge pulls with that person?
But see, I think love is something. Well, see, and it's funny. We were just talking about this the other day. Literally, the show that we watch. So we're talking about what is really love when you love someone and when you're in love with someone. So I feel like maybe in love.
You mean like infatuation?
Well, see, that's a whole different thing too.
Oh man, that's another one in there.
Yeah, because again, you can't really. Okay, for me, love is doing whatever it takes to make, you know, the other person feel it, because I feel like love is a way from me. In other words, I can give love, but I don't have to be shown love. Does that make sense? In other words, no one should make you feel love. Love is one of those things where you do something this way. In other words, I take care of my wife. I try to do things, and I do it because I love my wife. Right? So that's the reason I do it. I don't do those things because I feel that she loves me. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, right.
I do those things because I love
It comes
her.
out natural,
If she's
right?
hurt, I
Yeah.
want to take care of her. I want to make sure she's good. I want to. So that's the reason why I do those things. So when you meet someone, it's kind of hard to say that you fall in love with that person because you have to have the scale set to be able to really feel like, are you doing it because, your scale, what's on that scale? Because again, you can ask someone, it's like, okay, you say you love that person. What's on your scale? What are you balancing here? Well, man, look, man, she looks good. She can drink. See, if that's what you're pushing on your scale, then that's not really love. That's more lust. Because you have to fill your scale with something.
True. And remember, you went out there inexperienced, already falling into it. I had my experiences and then fell into it.
And you know what? I mean, I
think it's different.
Yeah, well,
because it made me ready, as well as him. He was ready. He.
But do you think you filled your scale with different stuff from the different relationships? If you look at what you thought love was, what were you balancing?
Oh no, not even no. Put the relationships aside. No, because when I was ready, and I didn't know I was going to fall in love with him first, because he's the one that saw me, and I guess he fell in love.
No, but have you been in love? See, for me, it's kind of hard to answer this question, so I'm asking you: have you been in love before?
No.
Did you ever think you were in love before?
No.
No? You never thought you were in love?
No.
Okay. Well,
no.
Fair enough.
I didn't know what love was, and I thought Hollywood love was love, and I never saw my Prince Charming like throw me like that, like ooh, and just like
coming on a white horse.
Yeah, I just never saw that kind of love. So I just thought, okay, like you said, it's a decision. Like you. But my thoughts on that was probably more immature, because it was more like, I will love him because he loves me. He shows me love. Yeah, see? Yeah, mine was messed up love. But once I met him, and he was like, hey, I like you. And I wasn't dating anyone. I was dating myself, and I love myself. Like, I got to know myself a lot. I went and I had dinner with myself. I had, movies, and I had my own time with myself. And I never had that before. I didn't know I was codependent on many levels.
Oh, man.
And
that's a toughie.
Yeah, it is a toughie.
That's going to be a next topic. Right?
Oh, it's a big toughie, because I went to the deeps. And then when I revealed myself to myself, I started noticing there's things I didn't like. Mm-hmm. And I started voicing things that I didn't like. And so I was kind of happy. Mm-hmm. I was kind of happy being alone. Mm-hmm. And so when I met him, and I thought, well, okay, I like how he's pursuing me. That feels nice. It feels nice. Mm-hmm. I kind of got scared. Because I really fell in love with his personality. It shined so bright that I was just like, oh my gosh, I've never dated this kind of person before. But my friend's like, just try it. Give it a chance, And I did. And I literally fell in love. And I chose to love without him having to love me, which I thought it was a very unique experience. And I even told him, I said, we ain't going nowhere because I love you.
You're not going to get rid of me that easy.
You ain't getting rid of me.
Yeah, but your eye doesn't twitch or nothing, right? If it does, you got to run, bro. If it twitches like that,
it was so like it was such a very innocently given thing. I think that we both kind of laid it down to each other, that it was good.
Yeah, and so the question is, what's the difference between being in love and loving someone?
I think being in love is just like you said. It's just kind of a desire. It's a very strong desire that is not it's not really real.
It isn't, but I feel that the being in love is important to the relationship, because I think the being in love is actually the feeling part of it. Loving someone is a choice you make to do. But being in love is almost, I feel to me, like I said, we just talked about this and we didn't finish talking about it actually. But my point of being in love is feeling the warmthness, the bubbles, the security, the different
Yes.
stuff. That's what being in love is that feeling. It's almost like you're dating. That's why they always say, try to keep like you're dating. Try to keep like
Yeah,
you're,
but one day those bubbles are gonna boop, 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 they're gonna pop, and you're gonna be like, wait, what?
they are gonna pop. But the point is that if
Yeah.
you continue to show your love in different ways, they will come back. Mm-hmm. In other smaller situations where we go, oh, you do love me, and it's one of those things where you'll start to realize that things will happen that will bring you closer, and the bubbles might change a little bit, but being there for the kids, being there when they're sick, being even there for maybe a family member, someone that you see like, man, babe, for him or you really stepped up, and you feel that, and it's like you just feel that warmth that the person looks at you and is like, man, I feel great. And that's the thing. It's not a battle of if you don't make me feel, I'm not going to make you feel, and stuff like that. And I think that's the conflict that we have sometimes. Like, well, he don't care about me. Why am I going to care about him?
Well, you got me thinking too. Like I said, I was a wreck. In my past relationships, I didn't know what love was. Like I said, I thought the Hollywood love was love. And I thought, oh, just because he called me, that was love. I was like, oh, man.
So
how nice.
you hit a big topic there.
Yeah.
A big topic is making sure that we don't have a hole that needs to be filled, because we will replace that. If, like they call it, daddy issues and different, it could be mommy issues, right? You want a mommy, and they fulfill that need as a wife, and you look at it as like, oh, she's doing it like my mommy. Oh, I love that. I love her. It's like, no, that's not the same thing. So it's like you can't have those holes being filled by what he does to show you that. That's why it has to be this way. Because again, if you're gonna take oh, he loves me because he makes me breakfast, it's like, no, it's not that. We take care of each other. But again, if you want to show love, it's it's a one-way street from you to the person that you're showing. It's not about what they show you, and that's why you do it.
It's all service. Absolutely.
That's what it has to be.
Yeah, that's why you get fed up along. You're just like, dang it, I'm doing too much.
Well, now we're going into expectations.
Yeah, there you go.
Now you're opening
there
expectations.
You go. Yep.
Because again,
another vial.
Oh man, that's whew, man. How much time we got?
No. We're not doing that one. We're sticking on love.
All right,
we're sticking on love and in love. And so there are some advantages, though, right? Like going back to the age ain't nothing but a number thing. Mm-hmm. There are some advantages that we talked about before.
Well, the big old thing that everyone always says is, men mature later than women. So there's
way true, and even more so now in this generation. He's all rolling his eyes.
I mean, the question is, women just are naturally a way of developing, very nurturing, very attentive of stuff, and men have a more, different way of looking at things. So I see how some maturities can, interfere with certain things. Mm-hmm. So, so.
But we had spoken earlier about how males, it's easier to change a female, right? If she's not sure.
So a male to change someone who's broken, a female who's broken, I think is a lot easier than a female to fix a broken man.
Absolutely.
I think it is a lot more difficult for a female to fix a broken man than a broken man to fix a female.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And why is that true, though?
Well, for me, I feel like that the way that if a man is fixed and is strong enough to understand his emotions and himself, he's able to help a woman see her emotions and be a strong rock for her in that way.
Yep.
Right? Where opposed to, because he's hard, but he's opened up to a soft side. And the thing is, with a woman, the women have more of a motherly kind of way of working with stuff. Yeah. So I feel like a woman trying to be warm and cuddly with a man, it doesn't really help if the man's not
broken.
That's broken.
That's broken.
That's
we were
broken.
Talking about that's broken.
It's very, very hard because you're gonna, to give tough love for you is just be there. You're going to be more. A female role is like I've said it before. A male is the head of the household,
Yep.
but the woman supports the male. That's how it works. See the support.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like she's right there supporting him to be the greatest for themselves.
Yeah.
And the thing is that if it's backwards, where a woman's trying to build up a man, I don't think she's got the kind of oomph to be able to be hard with him.
Well,
Again, I'm not saying it can't happen.
I see it a little different. I mean, I see it similarly different from what you said. You said that how did that go? The build?
So the build, I feel that the man is the head of the household, but without the woman, they can't. To move forward is difficult because that the encouragement of a woman can push a man to just, exceed.
So your whole thing is behind every good woman, there's a strong man.
No, behind every good man, there's a stronger woman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's kind of where
That's what
I
I'm
was
saying. That's what I'm saying. So that woman, man, it's a lot to get us focused and stuff like that. So it takes a lot, but we have to be determined and be in the right angle for the woman to really push. Because if a woman, it's almost like, how can I say it? It's almost like you can give us the gas,
Yeah.
but we have to have the right direction.
Yeah.
So that means that if I start to fail and start to put the nose down and you give it that gas, guess where we're going?
Yep.
We're going to crash.
That's exactly how it is.
That's what I'm trying to say because of someone that's broken.
Yes.
It's like, man, you can make a man so great, but the thing is that he's got to keep that nose up and make sure he's going in the right direction, and she can skyrocket because she's that gas that he needs to be able to.
Yeah, because a woman is so much love, and men need love. And so when a man knows how to take her hurt brokenness, and she's just like, frustrated, and he sees that, and he just goes,
Calm and patience.
I love you.
Yeah.
You're just so good. It's almost like putting her out.
Yeah.
And she's then going to, like you said, push her man up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when her man, like you said, is broken, and she's just like, "What are you doing? Where are we going? What's our direction?" And he's just like, "I don't know, dog. Girl, you're pushing me there."
And you know what? And she could be also enabling those. Also, a lot of women enable. So they could be that way that you're showing, or in the other way that I was thinking was enabling. Like, okay, you got this, but you're like, you let him drive the wheel? Are you serious? You're going to let him drive? Because he's not driving in the right direction. And you're just trying to, well, he's got a good heart, and I know that one day he'll get it. And it's like, you're feeding into the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's in so many ways, I feel like it doesn't work. Because women, I've said this before, I feel women's strong suit is emotion. Men's strong suit is logic.
Yeah.
So the problem is this. We're never going to win. Logic will never trump emotion. Because emotion is, perceived however one has gone through and stuff like that. But us as men can control our emotions. All right. I know there's a big thing that we've even gone through before about, men shouldn't cry or whatever. But it's not about not crying. It's about controlling yourself. That's
Men should cry.
Of course they should.
Men should absolutely cry.
I cried when Bambi got shot.
Holy moly,
cried.
that
I was like,
hurts.
what? Don't go to the meadows. Don't go in the meadows, please. So,
yes.
So it's like, so I'm a big crybaby. And that's okay, but it's controlled.
It's controlling.
It's controlling it. So the thing is that us men have that ability to be, flexible with the logical of ourselves and the emotional of a woman.
Now, let me put a little spin on this one.
Oh, David.
What happens, because age ain't nothing but a number kind
That's
of deal,
right.
okay? What happens when one is very playful still and still in the party area, even with the kids, even through family life, their downtime now wants to be party life, and it brings complexities. Would that be more the older one or the younger one? The male or the female?
Well, see, it just depends on what the roles are. Like I shared, my wife was coming out of the party mode. She's like, she already partied in Mexico. She already partied in San Diego. She already was like, I'm cool. I got, a few years in and I'm good. I think I'm going to focus on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Woo, woo, woo. No, I like this. And it's like, what? We're going to, no.
I'm getting low.
Yeah. So, and apple bottom cheese.
Yeah.
So anyways.
You come out the tequila.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I go.
Now you know where he used to be.
Yeah,
there you go.
So that's the thing about, in our situation was I was like, yeah, you're going to still want to party. We had such a great time. But I didn't understand that back then because of to be honest with you, yeah, my age had a lot to do with it, especially that young. I mean, I was 19 when I met her. So I was barely going to turn 20. And aside from being young, age-wise, I was so mentally just unprepared. I mean, I grew up. I mean, to be honest with you, it's like my role models, like you said earlier, it's like was TV. It's like I was like, okay, that's what my role models was. Same thing. I didn't have a really good role model, so that was my role model. So I was not prepared for that. So age can definitely, age/experience can make a difference. Because I mean, if you're talking about someone who's, 20 years old and someone who's 25, can be a little different than someone who's 30 and 35. It's the same 5-year difference, 20, 25, 30, 35. But, if hopefully the person who's, 30 has experienced a lot in those years up to 30, it can make a big difference. But when you're 20 and 25, you're barely coming out of a certain amount, you're barely being an adult for what? Technically, you're not even a legal adult until you're 21. So there's things that you have to experience before you take on these challenges in life. So age does make a difference, but it can work. It's just like everything else. You have to factor in all the facts of what you're dealing with.
And so what do you tell somebody who does have a young partner who's like, you know what, we got to be family now, and there's a lot of frustration happening. What do you say to a younger, well, now, because we already talked about if it's a man who's broken versus a woman. So what do you tell an older man with a younger woman?
It really is going to be looking at what the issues are. If it's a younger man that is using gaming to escape his life, or if it's a younger woman who just wants to go party and black out and get drunk. I mean, we really have to focus on,
or even dance. Some women like to dance.
Yeah.
You don't have to be black out.
Okay, and again, it could be the guy that wants to do that. I was just making two different scenarios. Doesn't mean that it, no matter what.
Not to any specific one.
Not to any specific one.
Later, we'll have to talk about the topic of if the partying stage is still in the family life.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what your partner does. The point is that you guys have to refocus on what's important. So whether you're the younger partner or the older partner, whoever you are that realize things, it's like, hey, the whole thing is to focus back on what your goals are, focus back on where you're going, and really communicate with each other to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be really tough because, again, we are very comfortable in our ways sometimes, and it's so much easier to go with the flow than to make those changes.
But you would have to be the first one, right? I mean, do you agree that you'd have to be the first one if you're the one that wants to move the family over to better communication and transparency? Is you're going to have to take a lot of that burden and just slowly grab your partner towards you with that? Yeah,
definitely. Have to grab your partner and say, okay, you know what, here it is. You want to, like I've said before, you want easy life, we got to make hard decisions. You want a hard life, then make the easy decisions.
There you go.
Because you know what we always say?
There's no growth
without pain.
Until next time.
Until next time.